Wake up, Tenno.
Hello and welcome to the first the Warframe Ninja podcast. I'm British Bob, your host, and today we're going to discuss all things Warframe. With me today we have River Rat.
Hello.
We have McGovern.
Howdy.
And Awesome.
That's me.
McGovern.
Howdy.
And Awesome.
That's me.
And the basic outline for today is update 17 and everything since. Equinox, the latest dev stream, and a few other bits and bobs that we'll pick up along the way. I'm British Bob. I'm British. Hey, part of AOD. And been playing Warframe since open beta, start, closed beta. So, I don't know. River, would you like to give us an introduction?
Yeah, I'm Riverrat. I am one of our trainers in AOD. I played a little bit of the game in beta, but really started playing it, I guess, last October. Really got into the mechanics of the game, so yeah, I know it quite well.
Been with us a while. So, Awesome, would you like to give us an introduction?
Sure. I'm Awesome. I'm part of the Warframe division of the Angels of Death that you can find on clanaod.net for any guys that are interested. I've been playing Warframe for about a year and a half, somewhere around there, and I spend a lot of time on it, so I know a lot about it.
And finally, we have McGovern.
I'm McGovern. I've been playing Warframe for about 2 years now. One of the few guys with a Excalibur Prime. Love to shove that in people's face whenever I get a chance to. I am the exiting Warframe commanding officer for Clan AOD, and we like to move our leadership around a little bit every once in a while, stir the pot, so to speak. And so I'll be moving on, and Awesome will be taking over.
So, just a quick point about that. All of us guys are from Angel of Death currently. It's an online gaming community. We've got plenty of games. You can find us either in the Warframe forums or at our website, clanaod.net. Come give us a look if you're looking for some clan and some friendly people. So, on to some Warframe stuff, shall we?
Sounds good.
Update 17. Parkour. I think is the first thing. What are people's opinions on it?
Oh, I loved it. It was nice. Getting rid of the I'm going to say endurance, but that's wrong.
Stamina.
Yeah, and being able to just being able to hold on walls for a little bit longer, moving around a little bit more, extending your movement, actually basically changing the whole movement of the game. It turns into the same graphics of a game, only it's a different game, and things have changed a little bit, a lot of bit really. They just need to fix some of the maps now that things are a little bit easier with the new movement system and the way the new movement system works. There should be some tweaks in the maps, and I'm sure we'll see that upcoming.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great to get rid of that stamina. I always found myself running out constantly, especially if you're spending a lot of time using a melee weapon. You just can't move anymore. And of course, the removal of coptering was a really big kind of one way or the other. Either you really liked it or you really didn't. But for most players that I've seen so far, the removal of coptering hasn't been too bad. I mean, this new parkour system opens up a lot of new ideas, a lot of new movements that you can do. You can get a lot more creative with how you approach a tile or how you approach an enemy, rather than just getting from one point to in front of them as quickly as possible. You can get some distance between you. You can get some elevation. You can leap over entire armies of enemies if they're blocking a hallway. It just gives you a lot more options.
You're no longer sort of moving anymore. You're traveling. You're not going from point A to point B. You're now traveling through the tile set. Does that sound about right?
And not only that, you're using whatever melee weapon that you want. You're not like forced to use the torpedo, because that was my number one weapon, because I coptered. That's how I got through the game, and I would always have a torpedo on just because it was the fastest weapon that I could find or that I could get. And now, since they put in the Parkour 2.0, I have the ability to travel as far as I want, as fast as I want, with whatever melee weapon, which I've come to really enjoy the Prisma dual cleavers. Those things are pretty amazing.
You're shoving at my face, aren't you? I don't have them. I missed that weekend.
Yeah, I've gone back to the Galatine and the Cindo Prime as some of my favorites, and you were never able to use those with the old system, so it's nice to be able to pick those old weapons up again.
Yeah, they're still, the Guillotine is still a little bit too slow for me, but as far as mobility and the Parkour 2.0, I mean, it none of it stands in the way now. I mean, I think that this Parkour 2.0 shift has, I haven't heard anybody really complain about it. I don't see any people putting up a huge fuss on the forums, and
you might be about to. I'm 50-50 on it, because I never got into the coptering, right? My thing was always wall running. I could wall run across tiles quite happily, and get the speed boosts, and I never got into coptering. So the removal of coptering hasn't really affected us too much.
Well,
what is now the loss of the wall run.
How has it affected the slingshotting? I mean, because
it hasn't really affected. It's just now, instead of running across a wall, you get bunny hop and you across a wall rather than just a smooth transition across a wall.
I admit I do miss that smooth running on the wall. I can see why they did the bunny hop thing, because there are so many different points, but I do miss the smooth running animation.
So for me, Parkour 2.0 hasn't really done a whole lot.
That smooth running animation, it's kind of like when you watch a racing motorcycle and they hit that curve and they come around that curve and they just turn and it's all smooth. That is the one animation that I do miss. But I think the for those who copter, that was the best point that Awesome made was, look, you've got 25, 30 melee weapons and you're using one or two of them. The torpedo was probably one of the main ones, and I was guilty of that too. There's all kinds of melee weapons now. Now I go into a mission, I'm like, oh, what melee weapon do I want to use for this situation? And now it's not just for movement. It's actually to use the weapon as a weapon the way it was supposed to be run.
Yeah, and as someone who used the melee weapons beforehand only as a movement tool, I used to hardly ever melee. I would bring a bow prime or the ceramic dagger or something to move around. Bow prime obviously for getting up really, really high, which you can now do with bullet jump, or ceramic dagger for getting lateral distances extremely, extremely quickly. That's the only thing I used it for. I never actually took it out and equipped it and used it solely as a weapon, just because I needed it for movement, and usually the ones that were for movement didn't really work too well as a combat weapon. So now with this new system, you can literally use anything you want and anything that you think would fit that situation better, because you're not bound to something that just moves.
But again, I'm on the flip side of that. I always use my melees as melee weapons, because I wasn't into the coptering. I do feel like it's getting there. I wouldn't necessarily call it 2.0 because it still needs more polish, I think. I was a little bit disappointed with Parkour 2.0.
If they made it so you can choose to transition between a smooth wall run and a hop, would that help? Let's say if you hold down spacebar while you're on the wall, you do a smooth run, or if you tap it, you can jump.
I think that would probably be the single change they would make. I'm just a little disappointed with Parkour 2.0 because it seems like a disappointment. They hyped it quite a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, hyped the hype, and then it's not quite lived up to it. in my opinion. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but
Now, going back to that smooth wall run animation compared to the hopping, do you guys know the tile on the Grenier? I don't think it's the Galleon. I think it's like the mines. And it has like the triple wall where you can go over the lava, or you can use the bridge to go around, and there's that vent that's up above that you can go through. That wall there, with the old movement system, you were able just to go run across that panel, jump to the center one, and then jump
Yes.
back to the other one again. With the hopping, you have to hit it almost perfectly, almost like your
Or you're
first jump
screwed.
has. Yeah, you have to hit it
I know
like
what
right
you're
at the
talking
beginning
about.
of the. You have to hit
Yeah.
it right at the beginning of that plate, or else the jump will put you too far and you'll miss it,
It's
and
got
then
that
you're
turn.
kind of screwed.
That was the
The
first
thing-
sexy
Yeah.
wall run I ever did. Was
It-
bang, bang, bang over, and everybody's like, "How the hell did you get over there so damn fast?" I said,
Such a,
Yeah.
such
But
a
now,
nice
n-
tile.
But yeah,
Yeah.
now you have to hit it almost perfectly, or else you're just gonna jump too far. Especially with the new velocity mods like Lightning Dash or Firewalker. If you got one of those maxed, you guarantee almost every time you have to do one press per wall. You can't do two, so you have to time it right or land
Well-
in the right spots.
With the
This is
lightning
the
dash
thing.
or firewalker, I find myself, instead of wall running, I just bullet jump and I'm
And
over
then
where
glide.
I'm.
Yeah,
It doesn't. I mean, with the addition of that and the Exila slot, we'll talk about that later. But with the addition of that, the lightning walk or lightning dash and firewalker, I've maxed those out. I can just jump anywhere I want to jump, and it totally negates the whole purpose of wall running, I guess. To me, anyways, because
yeah,
I
it
wasn't a big
does.
wall runner before. I never really used it. I never used the zip lines. I always coptered everywhere that I wanted to go. So I've kept that same mindset where, I want to get to that position or that part of the map, and I just jump over there. And now everybody's different, though. Some people like to wall run. So
yeah. You're using the bullet jump as an improvised copter, I guess.
exactly.
Well, you can jump and glide, and you can glide across. I haven't found a tile set I can't glide across now. Right. Anyway, speaking of the new tile sets, what do you think of the new tile sets and the new enemies?
That has been
Uh,
my home since I
yeah,
think 17 come out. I've been there 99% of the time. I absolutely love it.
I've spent about 4 hours on Uranus today. It's funny how everybody in our team Swing
can't wait
channels
for
just
that
laugh.
one. That's
Yeah.
great.
But I find myself not wanting to leave that tile set. It's been great.
I
It
think
hasn't-
the reason why is because Archwing has finally delivered what we were promised.
It's getting there. It's
Yeah.
not quite there yet, but it's getting there. It's a big step in the right direction. Being able to transition between the two is nice. I just wish you could do it in more. Like to my knowledge, in the survival on Ophelia is where we spend a lot of our time. There's only 2 tile sets, or there's 2 tiles in that entire set that you can go underwater, and they're pretty restrictive.
Yeah.
If they were
once
to
you-
open that up to, if you had, let's say, even the connector tiles like the T hulls and the elbow hulls, if they had a layer below them that was water, and you connected the tiles together in a way that if you had a door on land, below it you had a door that was underwater, and it would connect to another tile that was underwater,
Or-
so you could spend an entire survival mission underwater going around the entire map.
Or shortcuts from one spot to another that are a little bit larger. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with putting a huge water area underneath a map, and that doesn't tie in perfectly with the map. But maybe it's a shortcut from point A to point B that doesn't go through 15 elbows and the T junction and some other things. But getting more water in there is definitely, that would be a plus.
You could use it. What is that same tile set? The really, really long Grenier corridors, quite
Mhm.
often with multiple levels.
That's
You
our
just do a
dojo, I think you're
tunnel.
thinking of.
No, there's a couple of tile sets like that, and they were from. Was it the last Tactical Alert?
Oh yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean. With the
those
giant
tactical alerts,
elevators.
the really giant elevator ones, and the really, really long, straight tunnels with multiple levels. Just have an
We're
archwing
going
that's
down
faster.
the whole time.
Yeah. You could just have an archwing tunnel. Just bang, done.
Yeah.
And
What I'd
another
like
alternate.
what I'd like to see is I'd like to see more enemies in the water, because although that transition is nice, some of the tiles in the tile set, uh, the water is kind of, it's pointless. I mean, it's there and it's cool that you can jump in the water, but when you're in the water, you find yourself like the enemies stop spawning. If you're in a group of 4 people and you find that one tile set in Ophelia where there's that pool in the middle, all 4 of you guys jump in there. No, the enemies stop spawning. So you're, sitting in your shark wing, and once you kill the enemies that are, standing by the edge of the pool, so to speak, you shoot them. You have no more enemies coming at you, and it basically makes the shark wing kind of pointless.
So that
It's
sounds
like
like there's a pathing issue then.
yeah, it's almost like once you go in the water, you're not technically on the map anymore.
I
It's
think the
weird.
issue is there's only that one room, and in order for mobs to spawn, they have to spawn in an adjacent room, and there are no adjacent rooms in the water. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that issue is.
Yeah, but there should be a solution to it.
There's got to be. I mean, if they
Yeah.
can add some of these missions that, I mean, you've got them in Arcwing already, where the interception mission's a perfect example. Or heck, you could do an underwater excavation, easy.
Mm-hmm. It'd be cool if you had
combine the two,
Yeah.
overwater and underwater excavation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's one underwater, here's one above water. Good luck defending them both.
It'd be cool to see just going back to space with the Archwing, but have just, let's say they add a new resource and you can only get it from meteors, and you have to go run excavation missions on Archwing out in space mining the meteors. So
You mean
drop
Tellurium?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do it with Tellurium, but I mean, if they decide, hey, let's add a new resource to this or whatever, and you have to run Archwing excavation to get it, then it would be cool to basically do an excavation mission in space or underwater
So a
or something
cryotic version of
to one of the tiles it's beneath. And then you can go back up to the upper level, which would be ground. And that would be really cool to see, because then you could actually have a point to doing Archwing. If you wanted to go run Archwing Survival, you could. And if half your team wanted to stay up on land and the other team go in the water, and you kind of cover it that way, you could do that as well. But right now, there's almost no point to having the water in there other than just to jump in and clear it really quick if there's a bunch of enemies that fell in.
Yeah, and I was kind of disappointed that water doesn't play more of a part in Tyler Rigor. Like, you have to avoid getting in the water, but we've always avoided the water.
Yeah.
And the new boss is nice. I quite like him.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the new Tyler Gore?
I really like it. I wish it was a little bit harder, especially because they buff shotguns at the same time. It's still a one-shot boss if you have a heck. So
Stick
it's
it
not
right in his
any
nose.
it's not any different than any other ones, except for it's a little bit more drawn out, like the Mayhek
I
one.
quite
Yeah.
like the staging of it, apart from the fact that you can beat the entire stage and kill Tyler Rigor in his transition between the first stage and the second stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that you can do that because it means I can run it quicker. But at the same time,
It's not as it's not as
maybe I'm
interactive.
playing it wrong because I've never done that.
You've never done that. Have you never run with me?
No. What you guys are killing him before the second stage start, before he sets the
kill
water
him,
off?
I'm killing him before the water comes in. Yeah.
Shotgun in the face.
Your duration range mag with bullet attractor and a Dracoon with max Dracoon. Yeah, that invincibility he has doesn't last long enough.
Yeah, it doesn't. And then you don't have to deal with manics, which is nice. or the Manic
No,
Bombards?
because the thing is, you can cast Bullet Attractor on Manics, and then when they teleport, they've still got Bullet Attractor on. So you one-shot them again.
I kind of wish I would have known this before I started to spend so much time hunting for Equinox.
How do you think I got it in
You'll have
about
that.
half an hour? Like,
Yeah, I went through all
I've
the
not-
stages every time I killed them to
No,
get
no,
all
you
my
can just-
nights and all my days.
It might
Yeah.
have they might have patched it now. I haven't kept up with all of the micro patches, but yeah, I can kill. It takes a couple of people normally to get enough DPS out, but you can kill him in the first stage if you're lucky. It's about a
Yeah.
50-50 chance.
I would also like to see, I don't know how hard it would be for them to expand on this, but instead of just running to a tile, killing them and then running out, have like a lot of people complain about the Vahek assassination, but it's one of my favorite ones because you're technically in the boss fight the entire time. You're not spending 95% of your time running to a tile just to shoot him and then run away. You're actually interacting with him throughout, and I kind of hope that Til Rigor would be that way, where you're kind of like a capture mission at first, but you're chasing him and tracking him down the hallways. So he's jumping in the water, you're chasing him through Archwing, he's jumping back up. Then you get to that room, then you have the final stage of the boss fight, and then you leave. So it's a more in-depth kind of interactive process rather than just running there. And then...
I can see both sides of that. Like from my perspective, like when I'm farming for a Warframe, I don't want like going for Hydroid. You know, the people that need Hydroid now, you know, running through Vahek. You know, even if you're all buffed out and great, you still have to go through each one of those stages. And if you're doing that and the systems won't drop or whatever, it gets a little tedious. So
yeah,
you know, the first initial time I play it, I wouldn't mind going through that just to experience it. But being able to go through it to farm the Hydroid or whatever, that I want to get it done fast. You know, that's how I play.
Now, what if they took it where you had the longer assassination missions? So each time you did it was the full process, but once you got a part...
That's my biggest gripe, is we have this really, really long boss fight that's staged out, staggered, and is drawn out. But we also have to farm keys for it.
No, we don't have to farm keys anymore.
Is it not him?
It was.
No.
It
used to be, yeah.
And
it's not
that
anymore.
sucked.
That
and they
really,
fixed that.
really sucked. I'm glad they fixed that.
It's like Lephantis. If they made the Lephantis fight like Vahek, having an hour to build a damn key for...
Nobody
would be annoying.
Yeah. But it's not difficult to get those keys. Like,
or
the
everybody
with
would buy
Mesa at the moment. Mesa at the moment is difficult to get because of the farming of the keys. It's nothing particularly to do with the boss fight or the way the boss fight works. And I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, it's an easy fight. It's getting the keys that suck for Mesa.
Right.
Because you gotta wait for the alerts.
The one thing I like about the Mesa, as a division leader for AOD, is the fact that you get 4 guys and that you tell them that, hey, I've got these keys. All of a sudden, these 4 guys become like buddies because they're all in this fight together to get these elusive parts. And so you hand them out these keys, you build these keys, and now you've built this group of 4 guys. So they work their ass off to get this Mesa frame, and that I think that helps the community that we're in. Right, you've got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and then after they do end up getting it, then they're most likely in the same group leveling it and figuring out how to use it together. They usually don't split off and do their own thing after they get the frame.
Yeah, some of this stuff. I mean, misery brings friends together and makes friends or whatever. I don't know what is it. Misery loves company or whatever the case may be. I mean, I still don't have a single Ash Prime piece, so I'm sure Awesome is still chasing one down.
Yep, I still need the blueprint.
I have one Ash piece, but I've not been farming him yet. What was it? I got Hydroid on 3 runs. I got Mesa on 4. I got Equinox on 10. The only one I've ever had trouble with, apart from the primes, is Nova, which took me 28 runs.
Is that because the ODS?
No, standard Nova.
Oh,
Yeah, standard Nova took me 28 runs because I couldn't get the helmet. I think it was a helmet to drop.
Karma's
Yeah.
a bitch, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like,
I think, with the exception of Ash Prime, because he's definitely been the most elusive frame that I've farmed for. But before that, it was Saren Systems. Took me 16 runs to get that, which is not bad. I mean, that's a regular farm day in Warframe.
yeah.
I
As
mean,
for me, I
I
don't
think
think I've had too much trouble with a lot of stuff. Usually I found most of it pretty easily. Except for the Brack. I think the Brack is the one that it's been kicking my ass.
I still don't have the Brack 2 years later.
Yeah, no Brack here.
Yeah, 2 years myself, missing one piece.
The thing I like about Tyragor is he's not a Salad V. You don't run into the room. You don't one-shot his pet. You don't one-shot him. And it's nice.
Oh, I love his voice. I think he is one of the classiest bad guys in the whole game.
He's
far.
quickly become one of my favorite crazy people.
Yep. That voice actor deserves an award. That guy
Absolutely.
He did a great job with Telreaver.
So
what do you think of the lore behind it? I mean, I know
With the two men or just with him in general?
with him in general, what DE have released.
Without going too much into spoilers with the Nada quest, yeah, I mean, he's just, yeah. I try not to spoil stuff, but yeah, he's just kind of wrong.
At the moment, he's just really well written, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's been really well voice acted, and he's a bit of a dick, but on the same time, he's really, really quite cool.
Yeah.
So
he's trying to do something for his, I guess, race, and he's just, I guess he's trying to be a good guy in his mind, I guess, but shit happens, so he's just gone fucking crazy. I don't know, he's cool. I like him.
So yeah, we've touched on them, but shotguns.
Oh, I'm gonna get mine in before River ruins it for everybody. So, favorite gun of all times was the Heck. I played the gun. I played the gun
Lord
before.
Heck.
Before the Heck shotgun, silly.
Yeah, Lord Heck.
Lord Heck. Okay, all right, gotcha. But before I understood how the ranks work, I ran one frame, one weapon, and one primary, one secondary, and then one melee. And the Heck was my primary. I loved it, absolutely loved it, and it's my gameplay, and that's the style. So I knew that's what's going to happen. I like running into groups of things and pulling the trigger. I mean, it's always been my play style. And Counter-Strike, same thing. So I was always the first one out the door and the first one dead. So
it's awesome having. So I'm gonna spoil it for McGovern here. My Heck is sitting about 24,500 radiation.
Yeah, but how many formulas do you have in that versus my one? How many formulas do you have in that?
4. It
See,
is
there
fun.
You go.
It is fun having a ton of damage, but yeah,
we have nothing to shoot it at.
Yeah, it's too much. And then
I'm
that combined with the augment.
I'm kind of expecting these sorts of damage numbers off of primed shotguns, because how many of those do we have?
Yeah, I'd be okay with scaling them back a little bit and maybe keeping the primes a little bit just less scaled back. But yeah, I mean, they're really fun. I love the Heck. I was like McGovern. I used it a ton before they buffed it. I'm a single shot player. I love the bows. I mean, I hardly ever use fully automatic weapons. It's snipers, bows, Latron, or a shotgun, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, the Heck, the Dracoon, and the Tigris are they're bordering on. Well, they're better than the Opticore at the moment, and the Opticore is or should be the one-shot king. It's a charge weapon. It's got ridiculous damage, and You know, it's a Spartan laser basically. Like, and when your almost dedicated one-shot weapon is not the one-shot weapon king, I think you got a bit of an issue. But again, we have nothing to use them on.
Yeah, I think with the shotgun buff overall, some shotguns should have been buffed and some should have more or less been left alone. It's like some of them didn't need it and some of them kind of did. So having a buff that applied to everything kind of didn't fix an issue, because the Strun is better, yes, but it's still, compared to like the Heck or the Sobek or the Dragoon, it's still the same compared to other shotguns. It's just because everybody got the same thing.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
interesting.
never a shotgun user. I think I'd never got into using the Heck. I don't know how to aim, so I'm more of a spray and pray kind of guy.
The shotgun's built for you then, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of like the comb, but I just, I'm a Soma Prime guy. I like, having that pinpoint accuracy and hoping I get there. It makes me
Have
feel
you
like
tried the Dracoon?
I leveled it to 30 and then I shelved it.
The Dracoon even has traces for you. You can see where you're missing.
Wow, look at that.
Yes.
That would be something cool in this game, just some sort of tracer round. They were talking about Exilus slots for weapons being a possible idea, having some sort of just cool effect that you could throw in there, like just tracer rounds.
Tracer
round, laser sight, scope.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That would be
I
mean,
amazing.
You can
You
just
could add
kind
a
of
round,
customize
couldn't
your
you?
gun.
You could add a punch to a round. You could maybe add an explosive or a gas round.
Forward
You could add
grip.
a tracer round. If you wanted to, like.
Well, it's like the Exilus slot on Warframes. You could put velocity in there. You could put sprint speed. You could slide speed.
Yeah, there's a lot of mods that aren't being used. They're trash mods, right? And that exists in every single weapon, and it exists in every single Warframe. And now people are using them, or not.
I haven't even got one of the new slots yet.
I cracked open one, but of course then I transmuted. What did I get? The lightning run. What was that?
Lightning dash.
Lightning dash, and drop that in there, and nothing else will ever go in there because it's just such a cool.
I happen.
Yeah.
And we go through all of the weapons.
Was it with me and Awesome went through how many formas each with this last double XP weekend?
I went through 26. I think you did 33 or something.
33, 35 total in one weekend. And that's 35. That's between the two of us over 60 neurodes. Which would be.
You guys
that's a lot.
I mean.
Well, I'm just saying, between two players that were running missions together all weekend, that's 60 combined neurodes that you would have to go find. That's a lot.
It's at least 100 assassinations.
Yeah. Or about 1 neurode every 1,000 cryotic on Lua or Tikal on Earth. That's 61,000 cryotic runs. That's a lot of time.
What I found of getting them is you head to the dark sectors on Eris, because you can do 5 or 10 waves, and you normally get one in those 5 or 10 waves. And you get an absolute bombshell of money because they're dark sectors.
Yeah, and I know about Hydroid, and they just changed him, so power strength doesn't affect pilfering anymore. And I know about Necros. If you can't get the stuff to drop, there's no point in having extra drops on there. They just don't show in the first place. So you can run whatever you want. If they just don't drop, they don't drop. So, but right now, I'd say, from my experience and what I've heard from other players in our clan over the last couple of weeks, neurodes are starting to become one of the rarest resources in the game. It's just very difficult to get a hold of now.
Well, they're turning into pre-buff Oxium.
Mm-hmm. Like they just added it to loot containers on Uranus on the new C Lab. So you can get it out of there now.
So you say that way. Nobody can make a joke, man.
That's why I say it that way.
Uh-huh.
I'm tired of sitting in our channel and hearing a joke every 5 minutes about it. It gets old.
It never
Oh,
gets
you're-
old.
Never.
But yeah,
All right, what's next?
Neurodes do need a buff. Next topic.
So 17.2, I think, is the next topic we've gone through.
Oh, we skipped the Twin Grakatas. Those were a big
Oh,
one.
The Daka.
Yeah, because
So it's what, the first dual Flauto primary weapon? It's the first dual primary weapon, isn't it?
dual primary that's wielded as a secondary. Yes.
It's wielded as a secondary, but it's the first dual primary weapon.
Yes.
Is it, I think?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can carry a Grakata or twin Grakatas or both.
Yep.
You can just carry 3.
No, you carry the Prisma Grakata
Mm-hmm. Then the Twin
twin
Grakatas.
Grakatas, and you get all the Daka.
There you go.
Yeah. Then you're out of ammo in about 30 seconds on everything.
And then
Yeah.
you're out of nano stores because you're out of ammo stores.
Yeah. I'm there right now. But yeah. I really, really like the Grakatas. Once you get them form mode a couple times, they're actually quite nice. You just gotta learn to control your trigger finger.
It's 1 or 2. I need to slow my shot speed down. That's what I need to do. That makes my ammo last longer. That's
And
it.
critical deceleration. It'll also
Yes.
increase your DPS as well.
Mhm.
It's like a win-win there.
Do you guys use the ammo mutation on the Grakatas?
I'm currently not.
See, there's that extra slot would be for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do ammo mutation on them.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice if we had an extra slot, an Exila slot that would accept
Yeah.
an ammo mutation.
I might
That-
actually use a Dex
and-
Furus if I could.
Yeah, and that Exila slot could hold the Expel mods, so your Expel Infested and Grineer, you could start using those again. Because those were like update 12 mods, and I don't think anybody uses them anymore just because.
Well,
They're outdated.
yeah, they're outdated because I'd rather have a elemental mod in there rather than a.
Mm-hmm.
I know it
But if-
increases your base damage as well against them.
Yeah,
if
but
you
if
can
it was
get
an add-on, yeah. If it was to just put it in your Exila slot and all of a sudden you get a little bit of extra damage toward that faction, then awesome. It's useful again.
Because 90%, what is it? 90% increase, a 90% increase in elemental damage, even at the minus 75%. You're gonna get effects along with that. Like you get your fire, your ice, your toxin effects, and that would be more useful than just a 30% damage boost.
Select fire. That's what we need.
Oh, poor Tigris. Poor Tigris. They removed alt fire on that gave it single shot.
Yep.
Anybody hear about that? Was it just me and
Yeah.
River?
Yeah, and they talked about they removed it, and somebody asked about it, and they said, nope, not going back in.
Yeah, it was a bug. So, which is a shame because double-barreled shotguns, you can fire them individually.
Yeah.
So I still don't understand why you still can't.
Wasn't this because this is a duplex auto trigger? It's like it reacts differently than just a dual action.
I wasn't aware. What happened with the Tigers? I know that they said that there was a.
Right.
I was unaware of it.
You know when you pull the trigger with a Tigris, it fires both shots.
Yeah.
Or when you press down the trigger, it fires the first shot, and if you press and hold, when you let go, it fires the second.
Okay.
Well, can you remember they split the alternate fire? So you can now
Mhm.
aim down sight and alternate.
Right.
So things like the Quanta, you can aim down sight and
Yeah,
still
which-
fire the globes off, which is
I'll
brilliant.
actually
It
use
turns
the Quanta now that I can use the aim button on it. So yeah, I
So
like
basically the alt fire on the Tigris turned it from a duplex auto to a semi-automatic.
that. Oh, okay.
so you could fire one shell at a time, which was a great addition. It was Well, it wasn't an addition; it was a bug. It was an
Yeah,
issue with when they split the two apart.
I
But it
know they said on
worked
their dev
really,
stream that
really well.
they're going to remove that, or they removed it.
It's already been removed. They're not bringing it back because it was a bug. It wasn't intended.
I
But
didn't miss it, so I don't. Then again, I don't use them, so I'm okay with not using the Tigress.
I didn't particularly like the
Forever.
weapon either.
Yeah,
It's one of those higher damage weapons. It's up there with the Heck when you mod it right and fusion it out. But
It's an
yes.
assassination weapon. It's not. You don't use it on big, large groups. Use it on one enemy at a time.
Yeah, it's something using conjunction with something like an Amprex. No, not an Amprex. The other one, the fire one.
Atomos.
Forgotten the name. Atmos. That one. Both begin with A. So
Yeah.
you use your Atmos to clear your trash mobs, and then you use your Tigress to kill the one guy that's left standing.
Yeah.
Another thing that comes down to personal preference: Equinox.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's one of my 30 and done frames. It was
Is it?
fun to build. It was fun to chase down. It was fun to build. But when I've got to do way too much, it's not.
45% efficiency, 45% strength, and 50 or 60% efficiency.
That's
Yeah,
about
I
what
think,
Slayer does. Yeah.
For me,
And
Equinox is one of them frames that, me personally, I don't enjoy playing. I'm not a utility kind of frame person, but I don't mind having an Equinox in my group, just for the simple fact that she is useful in certain situations. But there are also plenty of situations where I can see that I wouldn't need her for.
I think
See-
if you're running long-term defenses, probably wouldn't take her.
Yeah, what Awesome said right there is the reason why Warframe is such a nice game, because Awesome doesn't like the support frames. Well, good. There's like 7 other assault frames that you can go on with, and so so you want to be a rotating weapons platform. Great, Mesa's for you. You want to sneak up behind everybody and kill them. Then Loki is for you, or Ash Prime is for you.
Ash is more of you want to kill everything in the room, kind of.
Yeah.
Blade Storm now uses Steel Charge. Om nom.
Sometimes you can, so you just want to sit there and punch 4 all day. Well, then Saren's for you. But there's something for everybody. There's a frame for everybody. It's kind of like playing some of the other games out there that have different classes. I mean, the frames are a class, of course, but
And even
they all
even
do
with-
something.
Yeah, even with the same frame, there's usually minimum 2, sometimes 3 or more ways you could play one frame.
Trinity's a perfect example of that, I think.
Trinity is a good
Absolutely.
example, and
Necros.
Necros and Mesa is a really good example. I hardly ever use her efficiency build for Peacemaker. When I say hardly ever, I mean you'll probably see me use it once a month, if that.
No, see,
Just because I love her build, I love the duration build. I love using her as a tank. I see her much more viable as a frame, as a team-based frame with the defensive properties rather than just stand there and kill everything and be very, very squishy.
and I'm right there with you because that slash damage from a 4th can drop off so quickly.
Mm-hmm. You're very, very reliant on your team to keep you up while you're in Peacemaker. Whereas with a like a duration build, I could still use Peacemaker for 30 seconds?
For the old
Before
crap moment where you get overwhelmed.
Yeah, or if I need to clear a room to revive somebody or to get a point or something, I can still use it. I could sit in there for 25-30 seconds if I had max energy. It's enough to do anything, really, in the game. But alongside that, I also have 80 seconds of Shatter Shield and 85 seconds of Shooting Gallery where I'm pretty much invulnerable. Because I'm not going to get hit by anything with melee, because the Shooting Gallery stun. And anything ranged, even bombard rockets, you're going to deflect that damage and only take 5% of whatever.
Yeah.
So you become basically a rhino with more clear capability, basically.
I am really glad that they hard capped that at 95%.
I am too. 100% would have been a little much.
Well, technically, if you get 120%, it'll start healing you.
Yeah. It's also why people need to stop talking about fucking Prime Streamline.
Not gonna happen.
Tired
You
of
know-
hearing it. It's not gonna work.
It would break the game, I reckon.
I wouldn't mind a Prime Streamline. Oh, I understand where you're saying where it would break the game. I wouldn't mind a Prime Streamline if they put a 175 cap, meaning that anything over 175 doesn't count.
Well,
but there are
they have that now. It's just like how many frames do you put Streamline on?
all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And every single frame in the game will have maximum efficiency. So let's say, like, for our Excaliburs are a perfect example, and this is what I was explaining to some of our clan guys that wanted it, was my Excalibur has 283.
I love it, man. That what they did to Frost has been. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Excalibur rework was great, but I'm in love with the Frost rework. That number 2 ability is so amazing.
The thing, I think there's a difference between Excal and Frost. They've reworked Frost whilst keeping the abilities, whereas Excal was becoming redundant, had redundant abilities that they changed.
Yeah, and it's understandable. Like Excalibur is the Warframe poster boy. He's got to be, he's got to be top notch. He's got to be an end game Warframe because everybody starts out with him pretty much.
Well, he was an endgame Warframe, but only with Radial Blind, which they then went and changed.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it? It was LOA when they first implemented it, and they took LOA or
They took it
LOS
I
off.
believe.
Yeah, so you
Line of
could go
sight.
through walls, and then they put it back in. Then everybody complained. Then with this new buff, they took it from 300 base damage to 1,000, but reduced the
talking
number
about?
of his javelin.
His javelin. No, his
Mhm.
javelin was originally his javelin was not line of sight. It was literally whatever the javelins would hit.
Mhm.
There were enough javelins that you'd hit mostly everything.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
now
what
it's
that was.
a base of 12 javelins, but with a lot more damage.
No, I'm talking about the Radial Blind. You'd use the
Yeah.
blind in them because you could max range it, and it stun everything. It was
Mhm.
one of the better CCs out there because it was
And-
it's almost hard CC.
With the augment for it though, it still is extremely overpowered.
It is, but he was
Yeah,
an
it's
incredibly
just
one-trick
different.
pony.
Yeah,
He's
it's
now
different.
gone from a one-trick pony to being a different one-trick pony almost, but no, not quite.
Which that would lead into they got rid of some of the mods that you could use or that would be affected by Exalted Blade, or that would be in use
yeah.
when using Exalted Blade.
Well, this is the thing. The Syndicate procs are a little silly at the moment because you can sit in Hydroid Puddle and get all your Syndicate weapons and all your Syndicate mods to proc whilst you're in the puddle, which means as your allies are killing stuff, you're invincible, by the way. With an efficiency build, you can sit in there for 5 to 6 minutes, and you can just be AoE procking almost constantly.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Awesome yesterday when we were running defenses. I still got to go and test it again, but I used to run the Synod Gamma Core with Mesa for when I was running her for her efficiency build, solely on the fact that if you had your secondary out when you activated Peacemaker, you would still get the proc off the Synoid, giving you energy back. So you would get a little bit of energy every once in a while back towards your pool while you were in Peacemaker. So it would extend your Peacemaker by a couple seconds.
Oh,
Depending
I
on your
mentioned
kills.
Hydroid Puddle has that augment as well, which means that you can heal your enemies and you can proc and you're invincible for about 5 minutes.
And then with max range, yeah, then it's huge.
Anyway, that's Puddle Boy. He's
But yeah, as far as I got out of the augment changes, were the only things that they took off of Excalibur is you can't proc AoE from an augment while you're using Exalted Blade. I don't know
think
if
they changed something else as well. But
well, for stuff like, because I use 5 million damage drop with this
what
change.
you used it in that tactical alert, the survival, the ridiculously high leveled one.
Oh, the level 100 one?
Yeah, that was quite fun.
Yeah. We need another one. I like those.
We do,
It's also
yeah.
the reason why I like the new tile set, is everything has about 5 times the armor as their normal counterparts for the Drakars.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's more fun. It's actually a challenge.
Yeah, high-end stuff.
Tile sets, Devstream. that new one that they're bringing out.
Did
We're
you guys
heading
all
for the-
watch the latest dev stream? What was it, dev stream 58?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
Did you catch it, McGovern?
I did not.
Oh, well, if you look on slide 8, we have images for you.
I've been playing with them, yeah.
The moon base.
Moonbase is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not quite sure I understand it. Like, is this...
It's a it's either going to be a new Orkin set, kind of like the Void, just in a different area, but they could possibly do prime drops there, which would fix the drop tables and hopefully bring Frost and Mag back. And make it a little bit easier to get some of the stuff, like your Ash blueprint, because it's spread
We'll
out
see.
over a bigger table. That's one route they could go with it. They could also make it kind of like a derelict situation, just more, instead of infested, just kind of Orkin ruins. So they could add a whole new race of enemies. You could do. I don't think I'm going to be going into spoilers here, but because it is in the codex entries that the Tenno apparently slaughtered the Orkin when they came back from fighting the sentients. So maybe they could add in some sort of leftover Orkin something, either some sort of hologram enemy or whatever. They could get some sort of remnant of Orkin typed enemies in there. It could be a bunch of different stuff. I mean,
personally, I hope it's going to be a cross between the Derelict and the Void, where we have the old Void drop tables. I think this is what they're going to fix the Void drop tables with. I say fix, but redistribute, I reckon, is what it's going to be. And I am looking forward to it because it's something new, isn't it? Like,
it's a new area.
Yeah,
new areas are good.
And the way the artwork looks is going to be.
Please make it hybrid. Please make it Archwing and ground based.
There's a lot of space here for Archwing.
Yeah. It'd be cool to have an entire interception-sized Archwing area above, and then you fly to the surface that's like kind of off the surface of the planet, and then you fly toward the planet, and then you drop onto the ship, I guess, or onto the base, and then you're running around on foot. It's kind of a big jump, but I think in the game they can kind of make it work. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm anxious to see what happens.
And even there's one of those pictures in there where they showed the Lisette flying around, and with the new kind of going into
flying under that bridge or whatever.
Kind of going into our not so important list of stuff that they talked about in the dev streams, but with the new Lisette overhauls, possibly able to use them in combat, maybe. So you could maybe the moon base you would see Lisette combat at some point. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think before I speculate on that, I need to hear more information about it, because what they've said about it so far, it my mind is wandering with the possibilities.
There's a lot of stuff they could do.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to say something that isn't
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Orchid Saren looks good.
I'm not like
Yeah.
terribly impressed with it.
I'm
I'm
waiting
a
for
big
the
Saren
3D
fan.
model.
Yeah.
Because 2D model looks good, but it's one of those with like stuff with flowers and stuff like that. That
This looks
flower
like-
on her shoulder could look weird in 3D.
This looks like something
depending
from
on-
Heavy Metal, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't this look like the animator from Heavy Metal drew this picture?
It kind of does.
I mean, you guys know how I like Saren. You know, she's probably one of my. She's definitely top 3 in my.
Oh
my
God, you're
frames.
bent out of shape because there's a breast reduction involved. I'm sure.
No, this I don't know. I think that well, I'd have to see the 3D model because
Yeah. If most of
Because
that was
boobs are better in
PBR,
3D, right?
if
That's
if
right,
most
that's
of that
right.
was PBR, like the top of her helmet and the flower on her shoulder and her skirt was PBR and it actually moved like cloth physics, I could see it working. But if it was static, it
I
would
can
look
see
weird.
it killing people's graphics cards.
Yeah. Well, Equinox doesn't really do that too much, and it has a lot of cloth
Oh,
movement.
you're right, but it has to be done well.
Well, weren't they saying that when they bring in these skins, they're possibly doing rework, or is that just for Valkyr?
Valkyr was getting a little bit of a quality of life update. They mentioned a faster rip line, a couple other little tweaks to abilities. Not like a full rework, like Excalibur, kind of more like Frost got. So just little side effects to stuff, little alterations.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned Saren getting one as well, so maybe a little bit more utility in her first couple abilities rather than just.
Yeah, I would like to see, because I would like to see. There's either 2 ways to build Saren. It's either you build her negative duration, which makes her first 3 abilities completely useless, or you build
her
her
molt's
with
still
duration.
okay. The molt's still
Yeah.
okay because it does detonate when it
Yeah,
runs out.
yeah.
But
It's not all that useful. I guess it is in certain situations, but me as a Saren player, I don't use mold very often. I certainly don't put like the Syndicate mod on it.
yeah, because you
Um,
play Saren as a nuke.
Right.
I play her as a sustained tank with the molt build, so I go still negative duration, a little bit of power strength, a little bit of range, but I'm using a ton of armor, a ton of vitality, and regenerative molt, and I'm constantly regenerating my health. So I'm constantly popping that molt to keep me up. So
Right.
I play her more as, I guess, like you would play a Warcry build Valkyr, just kind of tanky
So-
in a way that you're taking damage, but you're recovering it at the same time.
So you're using a bit like the Rage Life
Yeah.
Strike combo.
Yeah, I mainly use like Vitality, Steel Fiber, Rage, Quick Thinking, and then Molt, and then I'll have like a Stretch and a Streamline in there.
I am looking forward to Val's pre-corpus.
Oh, the pre-corpus, yeah.
Mm.
I linked you the picture that doesn't have any color on it. They do have one that's shaded a little bit. It's just basically black and blue. It's nothing fancy. Like, it's just so his lighting works right. But this picture gives you more detail. Alright,
Cat Rose,
so
nom noms.
Cat Rose. Yeah, I'm excited. I love my Kubro, but Cat Rose are gonna be. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with them because so far they look really good.
I'm on the other side.
Really,
It's not the Cat Bro itself. The Kavat.
even
presume
Shades, yeah.
Shades.
She's and Harass Kubros. She's gonna be still able to track you. Whether or not she could see you clearly or it just kind of disrupts her vision. That's still to be seen, but it's going to be an interesting mechanic and very interesting to fight against.
It's going to
Yeah.
be interesting to find out if she's going to dispel invisibility or if she's going to be able to attack you and alert
Yeah,
nearby enemies, or in her
Mhm.
case, her allies.
Or even, how I take my Loki to get my Cephalon Samaris scans. Instead of waiting for the target to show up, I'll usually pick a mission. I'll take my Loki out to break the scanner out, and then I just run around invisible, getting my 208 reputation scans, stealth scans. So, as long as none of the enemies see you initially, you get that stealth scan bonus for Samaris. And if now this cat bro handler, sees you, she can alert everyone else, and then that pretty much turns on the alarms, and everybody on the map knows you're there, and then you got no stealth scan anymore. So
yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting, and they might come up with some sort of mods or something that you could use on Asher Loki to help counteract that a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
yeah, I mean, I'm not against it because I'm not afraid of a challenge, and I am one of those players that gets stuck in my ways, and I don't realize that I want change until the change happens.
Yeah.
So right now
Price of getting old, man.
yeah. Well, right now I enjoy my Loki, and I enjoy what I'm able to do with him. And I'm afraid that this is going to take away from that, but at the same time, I'm willing to give it a shot. And I got a lot of faith in DE. I know that DE is.
It's gonna be how they react to, like, could she just see you, and do the cats just act like normal because they're gonna see you anyway, or is it gonna be more complicated than that, where they're actually going to target you specifically because you're invisible? Like, it could be just, they can see you and still target you, but you're not really gonna know a difference if you were invisible or not. Like, it could just be some little thing. It's just we're gonna have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
What I'm excited for is for a companion. We already have stealth for the Huras, but what we don't have is a companion that can go stealth while it's next to you. Like if they did a Senika Catbro or Senika Kavat type, where it was an attack companion, where it would be over here, it would go stealth, run over here, come out of stealth, attack this guy, go back into stealth, come back to you, and then come back out of it again. So it's almost like
Prime.
Yeah, pretty much. So it could be. I mean, it's interesting to see what type of AI they give the companions, and see, like, would it bring just the Kavat into stealth, or would it bring the Tenno wielding it also into stealth as well? And then what other powers would they give them besides just cloaking? Like, I assume they're going to be coming up with other breeds as well, so there might be one that's.
Or are we going to see a cravat that detects invisibility, which
That would be,
could link in with this new what is it? The new Grineer they're
the new
bringing
handle,
out?
Or
With,
okay,
like,
so it would like
700
highlight
different
it.
options.
It would like highlight it or put some sort of.
Yeah, because that's one thing we
haze
don't
on
have
it.
a lot of enemies of. We don't have many invisible enemies. We don't have many. I was going to say teleporting enemies, but
we don't have
enemies that
any
teleport
invisible
you.
enemies.
No, we don't.
I've never seen one.
Manic.
And and still give those guys that are level 1, 0, that still haven't figured out there's mastery rank involved, and that there's a mastery test out there somewhere. You just got to click in the right spot. You got to give all those people that content, and so incorporating this in there, I think, is something that a level 1 guy can deal with, but it's still a challenge, and a level 20 guy can deal with, but it's still a challenge.
Bring on the difficulty. People said raids were going to be difficult, and 2 or 3 weeks after they were implemented, people were already posting 17-minute runs with like 5 people, and now people are running them like they're normal missions. So stuff's going to get figured out quick. So the more difficult, the better.
Yeah, it seems like the raids have been scaled down, though. I mean, maybe it's because I've done so many of them, and maybe it's just because the global really have a good understanding of how it's supposed to get done. But
Yeah, repetition turns it into a cakewalk.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, they've definitely they want to keep it interesting for us. I mean, didn't they recently just buff the shit out of the capture targets?
Yeah, they did. Those
I
are
mean-
fun now.
That's
I
great.
love those.
Yeah, I mean, doing that nightmare run, even on a Loki, I have to object with your going in naked theory because those capture targets now, some of them are
Yeah.
nullifiers, and that can really screw you unless you're carrying a glaive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do the,
I don't think a glaive would even kill it. It's yeah. I mean, it's fun when my first one that I did when they right after they changed it, I went in there just like a normal one because I completely forgot it was updated and got my ass handed to me by a Tower 1 capture target.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. So
surprise! I fight back.
yeah,
Mhm.
but that's the stuff that keeps me playing
It's-
Warframe.
It's about
Absolutely.
time, isn't it? Really, like
I'm not so happy with changes when they're happening, and when I look back on them, I'm okay with them. I think that they're
Mhm.
good decisions that that DE is making. The only thing that I consistently disagree with is that AFK mechanic. And
Oh,
Yeah,
until
that's a
out of
show
the
all
game,
by itself.
yeah, until that's out of the game, I will not agree with it.
because now that they've fixed Gmag, there shouldn't be there isn't like a definite reason why it should be there. Like we have builds and team setups. If you want to encourage team play and you get a team that's set up so well that you can just stand in a spot and go and never have to move, it's not a player issue and them sitting in one spot and not moving. It's an issue with difficulty of that
difficulty
mission.
in mechanics, I reckon.
Yeah,
But
so
like
it's
McGovern said, that's an issue all in its. We could do an entire hour podcast on that, I reckon.
yeah.
Like,
But yeah, if you're dealing damage, I'm assuming that there's a way that this game tracks if you're dealing damage or not, because you get affinity. If you're dealing damage or casting a ability, you should not be going AFK because you're
well,
participating.
I mean, the game tracks abilities. It also tracks hits.
Mhm.
So if you're hitting targets with weapons, you're doing something. So, but
yeah.
Yeah.
anyway,
that's a
we'll
separate
leave
issue.
that for another time, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's it for this week. Plan is to be back in approximately 2 weeks, I reckon.
After the next dev stream,
Hopefully that's the next ever stream. We'll see who can turn up. From me, British Bob, Awesome, McGovern, and Riverat, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Good night and goodbye.
All right.
Good night.